Second, have a higher estimate of your own significance, because there are a lot of problems here we're going to overcome, because the country's full of problems it doesn't deserve, but it's also full of solutions on the shelf that aren't applied, because there's too much power and wealth in too few hands who decide for the many. What else is new? What's new is you have free communication now. You have the internet. I mean, the people in the 19th century who took on the banks, who took on the railroads, who took on the huge industrialists who were crushing the workers with brutalized conditions that are almost never publicized in our high school history books. The people who fought for the women's right to vote, the people who fought against slavery, these people did not have electricity. They didn't have telephones. They didn't have motor vehicles. They didn't have paved roads. And they did. And so we've got to stop rationalizing our own futility and exaggerating what it's going to take in terms of popular movement and energy to subordinate the power of giant corporations to the necessities and political sovereignty of the American people. That's really what's at stake here. So let me just run through a number of areas. And I just got to give you a quick vignette. I was at my Princeton reunion earlier today, and a young alumnus came up to me. He was very kind, and he said, you know, I really like what you're doing. I like what you did, but please don't run. I said, you realize what you're saying? And he said, yes, just please don't run. I said, you're telling me not to use my First Amendment rights of speech, assembly, and petition inside the electoral arena. You're telling me to shut up. Are you aware of what you're saying? He said, I understand. I like what you're doing, but please don't run. So I went through, I said, well, let's say, would you tell those voters who, instead of trying to determine which one was least worst between the Democrats and the two parties, let's say, in the 19th century, the two major parties, and instead cut out and voted for the Liberty Party, which is the anti-slavery party, would you say to those candidates, don't run? And he sort of paused. And I said, how about the people who refused to go least worst between the Republican Democrats on women's suffrage? Would you tell those candidates, don't run? Would you say that? And he paused. And I took it up to date and I said, would you tell Buchanan not to run? You know, on the other side. And he said, I understand what you're saying, but please don't run. You know, unwittingly, you are engaging in a political bigoted statement. Because you can oppose and you can support any candidates you want. But when you say to someone, don't run, you're saying to someone, do not speak, do not petition, do not assemble inside the electoral arena.